welcome you to another exciting episode of Pens in Use. Now, of course, this week I'm a little late doing it because I've been playing in my garden and I've had a trip to Bismarck in there and a lot of other things going on. But what an array of pens I have here for you. So I'm going to have to look at my list because a couple of these I'm not going to remember, but from left to right, a Waterman Hemisphere, excuse me, a Montblanc 32, a Kaweco Dia2, an Aurora Duocart. Now we get to the interesting one. This is a Jinhao of some kind. Jinhao 992, $1.50 pen. This is a Wingsung 698, Parker Duofold Streamline. Yes, and Streamline is the model of the Parker Duofold. I learned that this week. This is, what is it? A Lamy 99, almost empty. This is a Pilot Custom 92. This is a Lamy 27E, almost empty. This is a Lorelei Lingmo yellow pen. Talk about that in a few minutes. Kaweco All Sport. Now I actually see a brand, I see a brand name here. It says Penton. So I might have to research what the heck that is. What I have written in my notes here is that it's an SKB F20. So I have to figure that out. And this last one here, second to last, I apologize. This is a Delike New Moon. It says New Moon right there. And then I have another Jinhao 992, also for $1.50. So talk about all these many pens here. Why so many? Well, I blame Chris Rapp. Couple of these he pointed out, and I was interested in them. The Wingsung especially was one that came from him. And then I spotted a couple others while I was searching, and a lot of these are, I opened that upside down. A lot of these are very low cost, so it was just kind of interesting to see them all. Alrighty, so, wow. And this is a day late, and I apologize for that. So this isn't June 9th, it's actually June 10th. Pull this a little closer here. I like this pen. It, I don't care for metal pens, but it has a plastic grip, so that makes up for that a bit. And what I particularly like about it is this pen handles Bay State Blue very well. I think I did a close-up of the ink last week. I won't be doing a close-up this week, but I got something else to show you this week, so we'll just forego the close-up, because I don't want to make this too long. It's already going to be long enough. Alrighty, so that's a Waterman Hemisphere. This next one, I plan for this to be my review this upcoming week. This is a Montblanc 32. I will tell my Quebec emailer that I'm going to try really hard to pronounce it correctly. You don't see it in the comments because he always emails me, but I have a viewer in Quebec who does not like how I pronounce French things. I forgot the nib size, extra fine. And this is a Roshizuku. I had a comment about Japanese pronunciation. Apparently there's several different R's. I know nothing about the Japanese language. Well, okay, that's a lie. But I know very little about the Japanese language, so we'll just go with that. Montblanc 32. This is a Kaweco Dia2, the modern version. I do have a 1930s version, which you've probably seen in a video at some point. In fact, I know you have because I've done a review of it. Oops. Kaweco. This is very difficult, by the way, to write underneath this camera. So when you see my death grip on the pens. It has a lot to do with the angle, because you don't really want, you know, your whites and your nails to be shown you're gripping a pen, but it's very hard not to the way this is set up. So this is the gold broad nib, and the ink is Stipula Saffron. Just a very attractive color. I'm going to pull this camera up slightly because I feel like that was too close. This pen has just got a very quality feel. This ink is very pale and hard to use, so I don't use it very often. But hopefully on Monday I'll be doing a Cornell Notes video, and then you can see kind of why I have it out. Alright, I'm enjoying this Aurora Duocart. When I do the full review, you'll see I got a nice case with it. I'm told it's vintage. So we'll talk about that. It reminds me a lot, I can't remember if that's a capital C, but we'll just go with it. Reminds me a lot of the vintage Aurora 88, which I love, but the original Duocart was based on that. The ink is Aurora Black. And I am in the process of making that black video, so look for that, not this week or next week probably, but maybe a week or two after that. I am going to go out of order from how I showed you the pens, which I think is what usually happens. I'm going to skip to the Wing Sung 698. Chris Rapp did some close-ups where he showed the feed on the demonstrator, and it's clear, and I just thought that looked cool, so I had to try it. And it does look cool. This this nib is supposedly a little flexible. I guess it is. I don't know. And the ink is Iroshizuku. I'm pretty sure the Japanese don't roll their R's. So 3 years of Spanish to blame for that bad habit. Iroshizuku Chiku Rin. Which has something to do with bamboo. It's like bamboo sprouts or something. Very nice ink. It's kind of reminds me of a De Atramentis cucumber without the smell. And the cucumber is a little bit cooler color. This is more of a yellow-green. And yeah, that's part of the fun of doing this. Now this is going to be a moss green. This is a Parker Duofold from the 1920s. Whoops. And the model is a Streamline. And the reason it's called that apparently is they round off the ends a little bit. But I think it's attractive, and shows the effects of latex on celluloid. No clue about the nib size, but I have decided that the spring is popping out, so I'm going to have to fix that one of these days. Kyonuto, which is an interesting brand. Coquiero. Actually, in one place I saw it spelled Koke and then Iro, and I've seen that a lot of places, so I'm thinking Iro means something in Japanese. But anyway, this translates to moss green. Unless they're lying to me, it could mean green parf. I don't speak Japanese. Alright, the Lamy 99. This is kind of a fun, very minimalist pen. You can see certain features when I do the full review. You'll see there's certain features that are just in common with the Lamy 2000. Can't remember the nib size, but I'll look it up when I review it. But boy, it sure looks oblique. It's not a Parker, it's a Lamy, sorry. But I say it looks oblique because it's cut slightly at an angle, so I wonder if it's a fine oblique. I never noticed that before today. So Lamy 99, and the ink is Edelstein, Onyx, which could very easily be a daily writer ink if it weren't so darned expensive and weren't in such a stupid bottle. Pardon me, but yeah. And this is loving this pen. This is a Lamy 27E. I can't wait to do the review on this one. This has a oblique broad nib. So it's cut at an angle, and it's broad, and it's wet, and it's wonderful. Using an ink that I bought just for fun, Montegrappa Black. I will be refilling it probably right away, but not with black, with something fun. That was fun to see, but, you know. I love this pen. This is a Pilot 92 with a broad nib. Has a very nice piston in it. I like how this... I wish it didn't cling to the sides as much, but I think this Matahari's cordial is just a neat look for a demonstrator. It also does stain a demonstrator just slightly, so if you're one of those who has to have your pens perfect, don't buy a demonstrator. So it's Pilot, I think it's a custom. Yep, it is. Custom 92 with a broad nib. And the ink is a fun one. I like this color. And, you know, it could be my World War I interest. Noodler's Matahari's Cordial. So, yeah, it's interesting. Some of the personalities in history. And Matahari was a real person. There's pictures of her. And she's one of the interesting people of the First World War. We'll leave it at that, and I'll let you do the research, if you're so inclined. This is another one. I'm not going to blame this one on Chris Rapp. I don't think he's tried this one. I mean, I ran into it because of Chris Rapp, but actually this is a pen I have wanted to try for some time. I first saw them with Leo. He has the channel The Inquisitive Quill with some of the best music of any fountain pen reviewer. I just love his music. So, and he composed it himself, which is really cool. But this, I like the finish on this. I can feel it's a lower quality finish, but at the same time, it's so darned attractive. When I review this pen for real, we'll get a closer look. But this is a Lorelei. And see, part of my problem here is I don't know. With some of these Chinese brands, sometimes words are like the distributor. And then as it gets translated, you don't know. Lingmo, this is the yellow finish. It also came in a green. I can't remember all the colors. They're red, probably. But I liked this one. This was just nice looking. And the ink is Noodler's Upper Ganges Blue, which is a very attractive, kind of different sort of a blue. You know, say what you will about Nathan Tardif and his personality and his politics or whatever. He does have some very nice colors in his inks. That said, I've had some remarks from commenters about me putting his inks into vintage pens. Certain inks are reasonably safe, like black, his really standard inks. I don't typically put them into latex sack-filled pens. I haven't gotten a conclusive answer whether the noodlers actually, all noodlers deteriorate latex or just some. So I typically keep noodlers out of the latex pens, but I'm pretty open to putting it into a piston filler. Of course, that's not a vintage pen, so who cares? Alright, my Kaweco All-Sport, which is... I don't know why I inked this one up in black. I should have inked up my fine nibbed one, because now I'm writing with medium, and I prefer my daily writing with a fine, so whatever. But I'll empty this cartridge out. I think I really just wanted to see the color. I had a couple cartridges of this drifting around the house. And this is a chance to try it and see what it looks like. I have to figure out how I'm going to do a swatch of this one. It's a very nice black. But again, very expensive. So, not on the table as my daily use ink. Except for these couple of cartridges floating around the house, because I've got them, might as well empty them out. And then I'll keep the empty cartridges, because you can refill them with different colors, and that makes them kind of fun. Alright, this is the pen, which I'm not sure what it's called. Here it says Penton, but in my notes I wrote SKB F20. So, something to research before I do the actual review. And this is another one that has the clear feed. That, honestly, is why I bought it. Kind of a mini clip on it. I'll just write Penton in parentheses. The ink is Deatramentis. Pearl Violet. Kind of an understated sort of, I don't know how to explain it. It's not a deep purple. Alright, 3 more. This is the Delike something or other. This has a very extra fine nib. Delike New Moon with the coral blue finish. See how fine that nib is? The ink in it, I can't remember which turquoise I did. Monteverde. Monteverde, since I bought this bottle, has upgraded their ink line quite a bit. So I don't know if this one is still in it, but if it is, it's a very nice color. I think I like the Lamy turquoise just a bit better. And of course the KWZ Iron Gall turquoise is very unique. But this is a very nice ink. Now what I did here, this is a Jinhao 992. Now, a long time ago I reviewed a Jinhao that was a Lamy knockoff. I think I've given that Jinhao away. But this, I liked the color so much. And this is that same color. Now the ink I'm using here is Lamy Coral, which is a special edition ink. Another one I like, actually, very much. And, just double checking. It's not coming back. But see, it's a cartridge converter pen. But while I was filling this, I happened to look down here. Notice the rubber O-ring. So I had a thought. Now this, I said it was a $1.50 pen. It came in a multi-pack. This was another one that was in the pack. This was also in the pack. I took the converter out to see if it would work as an eyedropper, and it did. I put some silicone grease around the threads here where the barrel screws on to the section. And I wondered if it would leak up here, because it looks like this little piece is glued on, but it has not. Has not leaked around the grip. So, this is... I got these the day after I did pens in use last week, and has not leaked since, so good for you, pen. So this is another Jinhao 992. A very similar ink, but much more orange. This is, oops, sorry, I should tell you the brand. Noodlers. Dragons. napalm. Alright, so a lot of pens this week. Now, one thing worth pointing out, I think I'm about ready to do a review of this notebook. So look for that in the next couple weeks. This is what I use for my pens in use. And I'll just show you the label here. It's a Bomo Art. And where is it here? BomoArt.com is where you can buy it. Hungarian notebook. They have some very cool notebooks. Let me set the notebook aside because I want to show you two other things. First, pen related. I mentioned a few weeks ago that I was approached about reviewing some pens. So they arrived when I got back from Bismarck, actually. They were waiting in the post office, along with a new pair of jeans. Yes, I have to buy my jeans online now because the clothing store in town is out of business, and I did work very hard to give them my business, but such is life. Alright, so these are F. Salvatore pens. This is one, not my favorite of the three they sent. I was surprised they sent me three, but the finish is kind of nice. Hooded nib. Sort of a design I have seen before on some of the Chinese pens, so it's not inked up, obviously, with that many pens. I'm going to wait. But I'm going to start inking these up, so probably by next week you'll see some of these in pens in use. And they arrive in pretty nice boxes. This one, they have a slip cover. And then they open up. I feel like there's got to be a magnet or something in there that's holding it shut. This is a nice fire engine red color. I actually bought a pen similar to this for about $3, thinking I was getting a fountain pen, but it was not. It was a roller ball. So that's kind of exciting. And then I have one that I actually, before this company ever even approached me, I actually considered this one. Didn't do it because it just didn't interest me enough, but it really caught my eye, and it sat in my shopping cart for a few weeks on Amazon until I said, nah. Mostly because I knew nothing about the pen and the brand. I guess I'll find out. So this, another F. Salvatore. This is a metal barrel. That's one of the reasons I said, nah, because I'm not a fan of metal barrels. I like the gunmetal color though, and I like the clip. That's just kind of different. And copper or rose gold, I guess it is. Rose gold. And then the grip, it's plastic, but it's got more rose gold on it. This is a very classy looking pen. It's actually very comfortable. And of course all of them have the same converter in them. So I'm looking forward to trying these out, especially this one. Now, as I said when I discussed this, I feel weird keeping the pens. So there are a couple options I'm looking at. One, I guess I could mail it back to the company when I'm done. But they basically said, they're yours, do what you want with them. So another option, I noticed I'm approaching 1,000 subscribers. I've never done a giveaway before. I've never been brave enough. So I'll have to, don't think this is necessarily going to happen, but it might. I'm looking at possibly doing 3 giveaways. Maybe more. Maybe I'll give away a few Jinhaos too. As part of my I reached 1,000 pen giveaway deal. So we'll see. I have time to decide. I have to research the legalities of giveaways. I know some YouTubers just do giveaways, but there is actually a lot of law behind that. So I want to make sure I do it in accordance to law. And I do subscribe to a channel. He's can't remember his name. He's a lawyer. He's a YouTube lawyer. He does videos on YouTube law. And anyway, he has a number of videos on giveaways. So I'm going to have to watch those and do some reading and get everything figured out before I decide whether to do a giveaway or not. All right, now I'm still talking. He just won't stop. So this week I was in Bismarck for the Governor's Summit on Innovative Education. it's North Dakota, so I honestly, this is a terrible thing to admit, but I didn't go in expecting much. I kind of expected a lot of right-wing talking points, and I came away impressed. And I took a lot of notes. Now, I said on Monday I plan to upload my Cornell notes video, but I like to try my note-taking myself, so I decided this would be a prime opportunity to try sketchnoting. Now, it was sort of awkward because I'm sitting there in an auditorium at Legacy High School in Bismarck, which is their new high school, and a very unique high school. An environment I would actually like to teach in. I don't know if I want to put up with Bismarck traffic, but maybe I can start pushing my own little school in that direction. I mean, I know I'm just a teacher, but maybe. Anyway, excuse me. So, even though it was the governor's conference, he wasn't there. So, Levi Bachmeyer, his education advisor, who I guess was a teacher, he looked very young, so I couldn't have been teaching long. But anyway, he was the MC. And we're supposed to use in our social media hashtag ND Innovative Ed. So, I don't know, is YouTube social media? Maybe I'll put that hashtag in the comments just to see what happens. I'm actually going to do a full video on the conference. I know most of you probably are going to be like, okay, North Dakota education, next video. But for those who are interested, I will, of course, do it. And I'm going to use these sketch notes. I'm looking at how to get them on the computer. I thought I could just scan them on the scanner at school, but it can't quite hold them. So I'll show you why in a minute. But anyway, I'll figure it out. So Tom Schmidt spoke, and that's when I thought, hey, sketch notes. I didn't get too sketchy yet. But, here's a big problem with education. We've always done it this way. And every time you want to change, danger, danger, Will Robertson. And he had some ideas. And with your teachers, you can't say, hey, we're totally revolutionizing education this year. Dive in! Cannonball! No, you have to tell them to dip their toe into the bathtub. I didn't. I got a guy there in Speedos, I guess, awkward. But, the part of Legacy's design was they looked at Bobcat. They don't have offices or cubicles. So how could we do that with teachers? Well, take away their classrooms. Not get rid of classrooms, but this isn't Mr. Squirrel's classroom. This is room 111. Mr. Squirrel has a desk in a room with several other teachers. So I thought that was interesting. And, teachers should be in the hallway between classes. That puts them there because they have to switch rooms. But yeah, here was my first attempt at a true sketch note. It wasn't that great. Oh, look at my rotary dial phone for communication. Just some of the things you have to do. Work as a team, be on the same page. I didn't know how to do trust. Live in beta, be comfortable with that, want the change. All neat stuff. Kirsten Basler, our superintendent of public instruction, who, by the way, turns out to be the much younger sister of somebody I worked with many, many years ago. So that was kind of interesting to discover. But she spoke. I did a couple more quotes. One of them that stuck out again, the world is no longer rewarding us for what we know. It's more, what can we do with what we know? And a lot of this was centered around Senate Bill 2186, which, when I do my video, I'll talk a lot about that. The governor, of course, was missing because he was at an infrastructure meeting with our President Donald Trump, for whatever that was worth. Okay, so I wrote my notes on, let me pick the camera up, and these are out of order because I kind of shuffled them. I'm kind of afraid I might have to photograph my notes this way. I tried doing it with the iPad, but it was shaky. Oh, under these bright lights, maybe it'll work. But anyway, it's this fold-out paper. And it won't fit on the scanner at the school. It's too big. This way. Vertically. But anyway, so like Susie Wise, not one of my best examples of sketch notes, but I sketch noted. And then after they would do their talk, then they would have a panel come up and talk, and the speaker would guide the panel. So I did all my panel notes in Matahari's Cordial. Not quite as a linear outline, not as sketch notes. I don't know what you'd call it. There was a breakout session for rural schools. Honestly, well, this isn't it though. This was a different breakout session. We were just divided into small groups, but we didn't accomplish as much in those as I hoped we would. Closing remarks. Oh, here we go. Oh, this was a panel talk, and it just didn't work for sketch notes, and that's why I'm doing videos on several ways of taking notes. Get some tools in your toolbox. Here's the rural school breakout. Not terribly impressive. But then here with Ted Dintersmith, who has a book I'd like to purchase. He talked on why North Dakota can out Finland. If you know about education, they have a very good school. He is also behind the movie Most Likely to Succeed, which if you're interested in education at all, I would suggest getting hold of that and watching it. Eye-opening. It explores high-tech high in California. A lot of jobs being replaced apparently by TRS-80s. When I was a kid, 8th grade, 7th, 8th, 6th grade, the school had, of course, advanced beyond the Apple IIe that was just rolled from room to room. So we had a computer lab full of TRS-80s. I learned a lot of programming on the TRS-80. Just a little thing. Reform will be messy. Again, inertia, big problem. Let's see. This is, what's his name? Ken K, another name you might hear if you're into the education reform deal. I started sketching these people. I took photographs of them with my iPad too, so when I do the video, you'll have to decide how close I got. But he talked about student A, the very traditional one, versus student B. And, what skills do we want students to have, and what do we want them to carry away? So quite a good talk. All of our innovations have to be anchored in what we want them to do. So I did a nice little sailor anchor. Sailor pen, because it's a fountain pen channel. Ha ha ha. And, yeah. And then there was a talk on Senate Bill 2186, which is signed into law. Capitol building. DPI, the Department of Public Instruction, is located not on the top floor, but somewhere in the Capitol building. And yes, North Dakota's state Capitol building looks like that. It's the skyscraper on the prairie. It is a Art Deco concrete box that goes up 17 stories. It's really cool inside. Outside, you're just like, really? That's the Capitol? Oh. But, so they have to approve your innovations. But this bill allows us to waive or pursue waivers from a lot of state requirements. One thing that was kind of interesting during the panel discussion, they had comments from the audience, and one of the audience members was asking about school choice and private schools and so on. And this state does not do vouchers. We don't do charter schools. We don't do magnet schools. We have some private schools, basically religious ones. The panel couldn't see because of the bright lights, but he had a clerical collar. He was, I'm guessing, Catholic, because most of our private schools are Catholic in this state. And I guess I don't really know if the Lutherans wear a collar or not. I'm not Lutheran. Not really that religious at all. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting because that would have been a good context for their answer to know he was from a private school. So he's pursuing state money. That's what they want. But what they said is that this is going to put the competition on the localities. It basically turns all public schools in the state into charter schools without taking resources away from the public schools, which is what charter schools actually do. And I liked that. Betsy DeVos, who's on the national level, of course, is all about competition. And hey, if you want to discriminate against people for any reason, go nuts, and we'll still give you federal money. But I thought that was interesting. And then one of the legislators spoke about it like a silo. We want to be comfortable in our silo, but really you should want to be on top of the silo looking for the future, but that's dangerous. And to get people comfortable going up there is you need local support of the schools. So that's the little illustration I drew. You know, just kind of fun. Aaron Oban said you need patience. Cindy Schreiber-Beck said it's, you know, the main thing is to go, it's about the kids. She pointed out some kids come to school to fail every day. How's that going to make you feel? Come every day to wherever you work to fail. That's what some people do. And she also pointed out that North Dakota is small and nimble, so it's easy for us to change direction. Much easier than... I was trying to make the United States look fat, but it really didn't work. Anyway, so I will be talking on that, and I will edit the video together, but I just wanted to show you that I maybe didn't do the best sketch notes, but I tried. I'm learning. There is some amazing stuff out there about sketch notes, which I'll show you when I finally do that video. But like I said, Monday will be the Cornell Notes video, for real this time. So, hope that was interesting, hope it was useful. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.